Well, I almost got that intro to work again. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Midnight Rider Technology Studios. Always under construction. Um, yeah, actually, I after having had to do Google Hangouts for a while because I couldn't get my tech to work properly. I should probably move that phone. Um, yeah, finally managed to get things tweaked out properly so that the sound is hopefully my tests show that it's working right, but sometimes going live versus tests are two different things. Oddly enough, part of the problem seems to be the pickups on the Logitech C920 that I'm using. Inexplicably, the audio runs. This is what's really weird. The audio runs fast and a little glitchy. So I speak at about 10% faster than I actually do, and then it'll glitch and then it'll catch up again. With the with the other ones, for some reason my Samson mic works just perfectly. Which I had bought the Samson mic just for doing podcasting and things like that. So going back to it's not that big of a deal. Still had to do a little tweaking to get the audio sync properly, but the rest of it was just really bizarre. Then of course, once I got that meant that I could finally go back to the setup I like that has little things like, oh look, I want to throw an overlay on there. Ooh, hey, look, it worked. Yes, silly stuff, but trust me, silly little things sometimes matter. Especially because now, well, there's people that actually do things like, and this is really weird, but people who actually want to be mentioned on here. As a matter of fact, actually, I'll probably end up with a couple of interviews on here and a couple of guest people. I got a friend of mine overseas, Michael Burhan, that has had me on his show before, on two of the shows that he's involved in, when I was doing Jumpman Forever, the Kickstarter for it. So, yeah, I'm going to have him over on this, and you get to listen to somebody with a British accent who's got a much cooler sounding voice than I do. Well, I suppose I could sit here and imitate a British accent, but it just wouldn't be the same as the real thing. But speaking of people who actually kind of want to be mentioned on this, May I Learn English is a Kickstarter that's going on right now. And if I'd been really smart, I would have already set up so that I could click over to it and show you that, and because that's what this setup does. But I failed, and I did not think this through. So give me just a second. I'm just for the heck of it. Wow, I lost it. Huh. Desktop. There it is. Edit. Hang on. Weird. This is just still not as what I would call user-friendly as I'd like it to be. It doesn't catch what I would like to do fast enough. Hey, there we go. May I... Really? Ha, that's hilarious. There we go. may I Learn English on Indiegogo. Indiegogo, the campaign is actually for trying to set up a new way of kids to learn, specifically non-English speaking kids, to learn English, especially with a little bit of focus on ADHD, autistic, and dyslexic, and etc. As you can see, they could really use your help right now. They've not been doing the campaign for very long, but they could seriously use some help. So there we go. For a moment, it didn't want to come back to me. Jeez. Anyways, yeah, I know it's a little geeky stuff like that, but part of it is that getting this setup back means that here in a while, when this area behind me gets cleared out, I can have the green screen back, or not back, set up properly. And once I've got the green screen set up properly, I can do these from Mars or wherever. It's kind of a worthwhile thing to me. I don't know if anybody else cares. I just would like to have something beyond a pile of stuff behind me. Something that looked nice. Look a little more professional. And of course, you'll hear my phone dinging and things like that off and on. These are usually done as live events, and you can hear the frickin' train in the background. I hate that train. Hate that train. It's not even like right by my house. Half a mile away. Actually, it's probably a good mile and a half away right now when you're here honking. But it's just close enough that when I do these, if I have the overhead door open, it goes off nonstop. Especially in the evenings. Anyways, excuse me, long day. Anyways, if I go looking at my phone, it's not just my ADHD. It's that people actually are talking to me via Twitter and Facebook sometimes during these events, or Google Plus even, which means I probably have a Google Plus window somewhere. There we go. Anyways, tonight's topic: why I hate being self-employed sometimes. Self-employment is such a mixed bag. There's the upsides. There's some fantastic upsides. I can literally do anything I want to all day. Now, the problem with doing anything I want to all day doesn't mean it's what I get paid for. Today, for instance, I ran off and set up the Kansas Authors Pavilion when I should have been working. If you're wondering what the Kansas Authors Pavilion is, it's actually an event that I do at a local Renaissance festival, the Great Plains Renaissance Festival. Which a lot of local authors from here in Kansas get together. I've got a 20-foot by 20-foot pavilion, and we sit out in the elements, and we talk to the crowds, and sell books, chat with people, do a little networking, chat with each other, generally have a pretty good time. Wow, my phone's really blowing up tonight. There's a little bit of time out of my day today. Helping a customer, it's just little things like that. That doesn't necessarily mean I get the work done I should be getting done. And then there's the little things. I used to be a mercenary. I used to refer to myself as a mercenary for a reason. I worked for money. That's what it was about. I mentioned I hate that train. Over the last year, particularly in the last year more so than previously, I've slowly but surely gotten a little, I might say, soft. There are times where there's projects that it's not about the money. It's about doing the right thing. Good example. Local business that I host their website for and do their thing. Hadn't heard from them in quite a while. Thought nothing of it. And, finally, they finally get a hold of me and say, hey, could we get some changes to the website? Well, sure. What do you need? Blah, blah, blah. Well, how long is it going to take? About an hour and a half. Well, what's it going to cost? Well, it's $55 an hour times hour and a half. Oh. I'm probably going to have to wait on that. I haven't had the office open in a couple of months because I've been sick, and, now I'm trying to get things back running right and get the schedule updated and everything. I'll probably have to just wait. I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and make the changes. And when it's done and over, a couple of months, 2, 3, 4 months, I'll go ahead and send you an invoice, and we'll go from there. And it made for a very happy customer. Don't get me wrong. And that is not a bad thing. I just noticed that, the setup this time, by the way, isn't completely perfect because there's borders where there shouldn't be borders at. Oops. Oh well, I'll work that out next time. As I've said before, one of the great things about using the blog the way I do is that I can experiment with my setups at any time. Oh yeah, and I can do things like this. Ah, there we go. See? Now you know where to get a hold of me at. Yes, it's the little stupid things. Truthfully, the tech behind it, why be high tech, is because I can do things like stream in video game setups and stuff like that for work in progress videos, which I haven't been doing lately. Part of the reason why I haven't been doing them lately is all that mess behind me. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't look clean. It doesn't look proper. Anyways, so this customer, I did the work, and in 3 or 4 months, I'll bill him. To me, it seemed the right thing to do. The reason why is that, if you've ever been down on your luck, it's trying to get things right is a hard thing. If he's trying to get his office back open and get his hours back on and get the changes he needs, so that when people look at his website, they understand what they're seeing, it's important to that process. We're not even talking about big bucks here. And it's not the only customer I've had that's gotten sick like that. I had another customer that had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Survived it, by the way. And a brain tumor and a couple other things. And he survived it. But let's say I ended up throwing some freebies his way from time to time. Just because. In fact, actually, in the process, he's finally sold off most of his business. So I literally will probably never work with the man again. But on the other hand, doing the right thing and making sure that somebody with, as a friend of mine refers to it, with chemo brain, can get done what they need to be done, it's worthwhile. The problem is that I could have used the money this time. I really could have. Flat ass broke. Well, not quite broke. Close, though, at the moment. I've got some really good-sized gigs coming, but, for instance, I've got one that's simply doing a review of a college degree program. Yeah, go figure that. The guy who didn't finish college because he went off to go do things like walk the Great Wall ends up being in a position where he's reviewing degree programs. How wild is that? All they need to do is send me 2 more pieces of paper. I review them. Boom, done. It's a pretty decent chunk of cash. Not amazing, but it's survivable. But it's not happened. 2 weeks they haven't. For 2 weeks they haven't sent this piece of paper. 2 weeks. That's not. It irritates me because one, it's not professional at all. Two, it's holding me up getting paid. If I don't get paid, we're behind on bills. If we're behind on bills for very long, that causes a lot of problems. And that's, if things continue the way they are right now, that's what happens. Which brings me around to some of the stuff I hate about being self-employed. Despite all the freedom, it means that when things go wrong, you're the only one that can fix it. There's no safety net. There's no, this gig fell through, but fortunately this is a 9-to-5 job. They'll get me another gig to deal with. It doesn't work that way with me. If the gig falls through, if a client is late with their information, any number of things, then I'm just screwed. Which brings me around to one of the many reasons why I'm going back to game development. Game development is a cool process. See, I don't get paid during the development of it. That's the hard part. On the other hand, when it gets to the other end and you start selling the product, like Jumpman Forever is selling on the Ouya, there's pre-sales being done for OS X and PC, Windows in particular, no, not Linux yet. So there's, once that gets released, it's not like a one-shot of income anymore. Instead, it starts to be a nice slow trickle. And then the next project comes out. It's a nice slow trickle on down the line. I've done this before. Older games like Boulder Panic 2, Boulder Panic 2 The Challenge, Boulder Panic 2 Christmas Bonus, Boulder Panic 2 DX, Tile Panic, and Flip Panic. They all sold for quite a while. Just, here and there, enough to help make the bills. And had I stayed focused, it would have been an amazing thing. I actually got unfocused helping out another business, which, if you really want to hear that whole story, there's a book out there called The Story of Gamer Zone. Look it up on Amazon, download it on the Kindle or what have you, and okay, I don't even know what that was about. Weird. Anyway, sorry about that. The Google Hangout icon started flashing at me, so I thought maybe somebody was trying to chat or something like that. I don't know what it was. It didn't actually come up with anything. So, yeah, not exactly. The setup is not the best. It's Google Chat and a couple of those things that should work in there fairly well. Don't have all of it together yet. Takes time. Anyways, I've been there before with game development. And had I not got involved in a different company, things would have went a lot better and a lot differently. As a matter of fact, not only was I had my own games out there, I also had contracts that where I was working on other ones, which were good for bridging the gap between the income that I was getting off of the game sales themselves and the time I needed to keep shipping more games. It's a great idea. And that's where I'm starting to be at now. Now, this time around, though, there was a little bit of help, which was a Kickstarter that helped out somewhat. Not as much as you would hope, but somewhat. Especially because there's still things to be done that on Crucible, for instance, before I actually get my payments off of Ouya for the free the games fund portion of it, which is a big deal. Crucible is still in development and still hasn't shipped a beta yet, partially because we're still working on the graphics. We redid a whole lot on it. And when I get to the game work in progress videos again, that will be one of the first things that start showing off is what did we do compared to what the original style was. There's a number of people that had grouses about our style. They backed it, and then groused about they wished that it was a little bit different, they wished it was a little prettier or what have you. So we took some of that to heart, looked at what the world is at like right now, and went a little cooler with it. Anyways, so yeah. And of course with self-employment, you always have the requirement to be motivated at all times. If you're not motivated, there's going to be problems. The last, I don't know, month or so of battling with, well, I took away caffeine out of my diet entirely because I couldn't sleep at nights. I'd go to bed and I'd just sit there and toss and turn. Just wouldn't happen. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting tired now. Yeah. I took caffeine out of my diet, which helped a lot, and then slowly started the process of quitting smoking. Now, I'd love to say that I haven't had a cigarette in a month. Unfortunately, the last couple of days I have smoked. But there's still these things. Now, my little e-cigs, when I started, there were 18 milligrams of nicotine in them. Then now down to 1 milligram of nicotine in it. In fact, I've got a special custom mix here that is a 0.5, my last step before I go to completely not having nicotine. The problem with this is that it interferes with the self-motivation thing because it's so hard to stay focused some days. And I'm not working out the way I should and all these things. So that again, if you're at a daytime job, it's awesome because they're always going to be on your butt to get your work done. Or they're going to fire you. I've never been fired from anywhere. I've been laid off once, but never fired. So, they closed down the section, so yeah, I got laid off. So that self-motivation thing becomes very difficult. And there's some days, man, I just like to run off and play hooky and just do nothing. It doesn't work that way. I've got these things I got to ship. People pay me to do things, and, well, I got to do them. And even with going to game development, until there's a good buffer built up, I still have to continue to produce at a fairly good clip. If I don't, I won't make up that income fast enough. I won't be making the sales fast enough, and therefore, still a collapse problem. Now, I'm married. My wife has a full-time job. Not a great job, but a full-time job. Doesn't pay a whole lot. It'd be great if it did. Make it so much easier just to go to strictly to game development. If there was a better buffer there. But there's not. So anyways, motivation. Sometimes it's just hard to do. Even without the ADHD problems, it's sometimes hard to do. Yeah, I can just think of so many other things I'd like to do some days than the task that's actually ahead of me. And even these things, where I'm doing the video blogs, is there's a very, very currently a minute trickle of income from this. And for instance, today's blog will net me $3. Hey, but you know what? It's $3. Whatever. And I was going to be doing these anyways. For me, the bonus is I get to rant about whatever I want to rant about, and somebody pays for it. How cool is that? So, anyways, and just the days where you're stressed out because you don't have enough money, and you're not certain if you've got it all covered, and at the same time, like I said, I'm looking at some customer who's a hard luck case and going, you know what? Don't worry about it. Let's get you back up and running. We'll worry about the cost later. It should be hard for me to do that sort of thing, but it's not. Like I said, I used to be a mercenary. I used to be the, okay, sure, we can do. Oh, you don't have the money for it? Man, that's just gonna. Sorry, can't do it. But now, keep in mind, I also don't take on new customers on a regular basis anymore, for very good reasons, and especially not in web development field or app development. It's too crowded. There's too many people who, well, let's face it, a WordPress installation can go in fairly quickly. The details is where it's at. Tasty butterscotch. Anyways, all of these things, they just make it so hard some days. And that's why I'm really enjoying the slow, steady moves I'm making towards game development and getting some of these things on the market, and finally, eventually, getting to the point where I'm solid ground without having to worry about somebody else, without having to worry about whether or not somebody's going to pay their bill, whether or not they're going to deliver me the information on time, whether or not they're going to chump out on the bill entirely. That happens. Fortunately, with web development, there are solutions to that. Any number of things like that. Just getting rid of some of the stress would be so fantastic some days. Anyways, that's tonight's apparently very ADHD fueled podcast or broadcast. So anyways, I will admit I've rambled all over the place. It was supposed to be fairly short, especially because I wanted to go to bed sometime soon. So anyways, good night. See you tomorrow. If you're in Wichita this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, I will be at the Kansas Authors Pavilion. It's part of the Great Plains Renaissance Festival. It's a lot of fun. Come by, drop by, find me. I'm going to be somewhere around the tent, wearing a kilt. Always do. Hunt me down, especially because I'm not going to broadcast it live, but I'm going to do for those 2 days. I'm going to do the blog from the Kansas Authors Pavilion tent and from the Great Plains Renaissance Festival in general. So stop by and say hi, get on the blog with me, and I'll be uploading it later on in the evening. So see you later. Bye.